Today is Thursday, September 1st. We'll tell you about the next round of COVID-19 boosters authorized, when they're expected to hit the market, and who will be eligible. Also, a new plan to tackle teacher shortages around the U.S., and a first-of-its-kind history class coming to dozens of American high schools. Plus, a historic milestone that could pave the way for humans on Mars. Another app merger bringing two streaming services together. And what the research says about smiling, how it can help your health, your career, and your friendships. All that and more stories coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Updated COVID-19 booster shots could be on the market as soon as this weekend, with more becoming available next week. The FDA just gave the green light to the newest boosters from both Pfizer and Moderna. The updated Pfizer booster is for anyone 12 and older, and Moderna's updated booster is for anyone 18 and older. And for both, you can get it as long as your last COVID shot was at least 2 months ago. These reformulated shots are designed to specifically target the Omicron subvariants that are the most dominant in the U.S. right now, as well as the original strain of the virus, too. And health officials say they're also likely to be a closer match to any potential future variants. This is actually the first update to the vaccine since they were first authorized at the end of 2020. This time, the process was sped up to try to keep up with the changing virus and get ahead of a potential winter surge. There's been some concern circulating online that these specific boosters have not been widely tested in humans like the original COVID-19 vaccines and boosters were. Instead, the companies use data from mice trials. But the FDA says it's a similar process to how flu vaccines are tweaked each year. And top FDA officials say they are confident these boosters are safe and effective. Next up, the CDC still needs to sign off, but that is expected to happen before the end of the week. The United Nations just backed up what the U.S. and other world powers have suspected for a while now. There might be crimes against humanity happening in China. UN investigators looked into allegations the Chinese Communist Party is forcing Uyghur Muslims into internment camps. And they say they found credible evidence of torture and forced labor. The UN says it can't be sure how many people have been detained by the Chinese government, but human rights groups have estimated more than 1 million people have been forced into camps in the Xinjiang region, mostly Uyghur Muslims. China still says there's no abuse happening and that the camps are just job training centers needed to fight extremism. So what's next? Well, the UN says perpetrators need to be held accountable and victims should be compensated. It's calling for an international response, though didn't provide details about what exactly that means. To be continued. Well, here in the U.S., there's an issue in the armed forces that's demanding attention. More service members than ever report being sexually assaulted. In a confidential survey, 36,000 of them said they experienced unwanted sexual contact. And that's a dramatic increase from the last time the survey was taken. Officials tell news outlets like the AP most of the increase is coming from the U.S. Army. But the Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps also saw their numbers go up. Now, it is important to note, even with this recent increase, officials say a woman's chances of being sexually assaulted in the military is about the same as a woman in the general population. And for men, the risk for those in the military is much lower. Some defense leaders have also argued an increase in reported assaults is a good thing since it reflects more confidence in the reporting system. So it's not actually clear if the problem is getting worse or if people are just more willing to come forward. Either way, Pentagon leaders say they're still working to encourage more reporting and stop sexual assaults before they happen. An Alaska Democrat just won a seat in Congress that's been held by a Republican for nearly 50 years. It also means former Republican vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin did not win, at least for now. Former state representative Mary Peltola will take over for Congressman Don Young, who died suddenly back in March. The special election was held earlier this month, but it took until last night to count all the votes and calculate the winner with the state's new ranked choice voting system. To be clear, this election was only to decide who should serve the rest of Young's term, which is up in January anyway. So Peltola and Palin will be back on the ballots in November, each trying to win a full term. The federal government announced a new plan to try and improve a nationwide teacher shortage. The Biden administration announced it's partnering with several major job search companies like ZipRecruiter, Handshake, and one of our podcast sponsors, Indeed. ZipRecruiter is launching an online job portal specifically for K-12 schools. Indeed will set up virtual hiring fairs for educators and other school staff. And Handshake, that helps college students find jobs, is coming up with new ways to share job openings with undergraduate education students. On top of those partnerships, the education and labor departments sent state and local officials a letter about the shortages this week. They encouraged officials to use money from last year's COVID-19 relief bill to increase teacher pay. And they told them to set up training programs to recruit and retrain teachers. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, a quick break for our sponsor, Rothy's. You all know I love my Rothy's shoes, and maybe you've heard of the point and the flat styles. They're the best sellers for good reason. In fact, People magazine named the point the best flat for the first ever Style Awards of 2021. But did you know Rothy's also makes insanely comfortable sneakers, loafers, ankle boots, and more? They do. Their wide variety of styles are great for summer and fall. And I've never worn shoes that are so comfortable right out of the box, are machine washable, last me years, and are super cute and stylish all in one. Oh, and don't forget that everything Rothy's makes is better for the planet, too. They've repurposed millions of single-use plastic bottles into their signature thread that goes into every single one of their products. Step up your shoes and accessories this summer and get ready to be asked, are those Rothy's? I get it all the time. Plus, get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/newsworthy. That's ROTHYS, rothys.com/newsworthy. It's a first in academic history. AP African American Studies will be offered in high school classrooms. The College Board oversees college-level courses in high schools and is the one introducing this new course this fall. But it won't be in all schools, at least not right away. Only 60 high schools in the U.S. will be offering this advanced placement African American Studies class as a test run. If all goes well, it's expected to be available to more students next year and then to all high schools interested in offering it by the 2024-25 school year. The College Board says the curriculum highlights the cultural, artistic, and political contributions of African Americans. Other topics might include civil rights, literature, and geography. The course comes as school boards in the U.S. are debating or facing controversy over critical race theory. Parents, here's an emerging trend to at least be aware of. It's known as rainbow fentanyl. And just like it sounds, it refers to colorful versions of the powerful drug, meant to look like candy or sidewalk chalk. The Drug Enforcement Administration says law enforcement seized so-called rainbow fentanyl in 18 states last month alone. If you're not familiar, fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. The DEA says it can be 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine. It was originally developed as a pain management treatment for people with cancer, but it became a widely used street drug. And it's been linked to tens of thousands of overdose deaths in the U.S. just last year. Federal officials say drug traffickers are now trying to get kids and young people addicted with this newer, more colorful version of it. Bed Bath & Beyond continues to struggle financially, but is hoping its latest cost-cutting measures will be enough to save the brand. The company is closing about 150 stores of the 900 or so across the U.S. It's also planning to fire about 20% of its corporate workers. Bed Bath & Beyond is also going to cut back a bit on building and promoting its own brands and focus on other national brands. Despite all these changes, many on Wall Street are still concerned Bed Bath & Beyond might not be able to pull itself out of its deep financial hole, no matter how many 20% off coupons it offers to try to get customers to come back. Meanwhile, the company behind Snapchat is also making big cuts. Snap will lay off 20% of its staff, so about 1,200 workers, as the social media company works to restructure. It's also scrapped several projects, including that mini photo-taking drone that it launched back in April. The changes don't come as a huge surprise, though, given that Snap said months ago it was going to miss its revenue goals and would need to respond accordingly. The company's stock price has lost nearly 80% of its value since the start of this year. 2 more streaming services are coming together on one app. We're talking about Paramount Plus and Showtime. They were already being bundled together as part of a special subscription since they're both owned by Paramount Global. But now they're also available on just one app. And with that, new subscribers can also get a deal. Until October 2nd, you can get the Paramount Plus and Showtime plan with ads for $8 a month or the mostly ad-free plan for $13 a month. After October 2nd, the prices for both plans will go up. Or if you want to pay a little less, you can still get Paramount Plus as a standalone service without Showtime or vice versa. Disney also now offers a combo deal with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. And remember, HBO Max will be absorbed into a new combo app with Discovery Plus next year. Well, there is new hope. Humans will one day be able to survive on Mars, even though the red planet has almost no oxygen. Scientists at MIT created a device the size of a toaster and called it MOXIE. It was on board NASA's Perseverance rover that blasted off to Mars last year. And this week, the team behind MOXIE confirmed it's been working well. It's apparently been converting carbon dioxide already on Mars into breathable oxygen. It's churning out about 6 grams of oxygen an hour in different conditions at different times of day and during different seasons. Now, the hope is that scientists will be able to scale up the device. Researchers say if that works, it might one day be able to produce oxygen at the rate of several hundred trees, and that could sustain astronauts on Mars and fuel the rockets to get them back to Earth. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday, about the science of smiling. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Thrive Cosmetics. If you're like me and you've been looking for a new beauty and skincare routine, I have your solution. Thrive Cosmetics has clean, high-performance products. They never have parabens, sulfates, or phthalates, so I feel confident putting these products on my skin every day. And here's another awesome thing about Thrive Cosmetics. Cause is in the name for a reason. Every purchase supports organizations that help communities thrive. Over the years, I've had to report on a lot of natural disasters, domestic abuse cases, and veterans who struggle to adjust after war. So I really appreciate that Thrive Cosmetics gives to organizations working on all of those issues and more. So far, I have their Brilliant Eye Brightener. It's a cream to powder highlighter stick. I love the Liquid Balm Lip Treatment that nourishes lips and gives them a great glossy look as well. And the best-selling Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. I now use it every day. The name explains it all. Now is a great time to try Thrive Cosmetics for yourself. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/newsworthy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS, thrivecosmetics.com/newsworthy for 15% off your first order. Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. Putting on a smile could be the key to improving your health, relationships, and overall mood. Axios broke down some of the research from recent years showing smiling could even help with stress and pain relief, too. For example, researchers at the University of Kansas found smiling in stressful situations can cause your heart rate to slow down. And that's true even if you don't feel like smiling and you do it anyway. Some research has shown smiling while you run can make the task seem more manageable. And the American Psychological Association found people who smile when getting a shot at the doctor reported feeling less pain than those who weren't smiling. A study in the National Library of Medicine found people are even viewed as more attractive if they're smiling. And the Wharton School of Business saw that at work, a smile can make you seem more trustworthy to others and deepen your bond with coworkers. So I hope this gets you to smile today. Well, thank you so much for listening today. We so appreciate your support, whether that's sharing the show, leaving a review, or becoming a Newsworthy Insider. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.